Welcome to the Handcrafted Podcast, the business of making things. I'm Paul, founder of Philadelphia Table Company and the Handcrafted Network, and I believe great craftsmanship deserves great business strategy. This podcast is for makers who want to build not just great products, but a thriving business. Each episode will dive into the mindset, systems, and skills that turn craft into success. All right, guys, welcome back to the Handcrafted Podcast, the business of making things. It's been really great. I know I say this all the time, but it's been really great getting to know a lot of you guys over in the community. I've had a lot of people sign up for the Handcrafted Network. It's been super rad. It's been also really great hearing from you guys. The one on the podcast I talked about, the hospitality one. A lot of you guys sent me ideas of what you guys are doing with samples, which has been really cool to see, all the different ideas. So thank you for sharing those. Thanks so much for reaching out, sending emails, getting in touch with me. And I had 2 phone calls yesterday with people who listen to the podcast, and it's been awesome getting to know you guys. So if you're interested in joining the network, if you're interested in joining the community, you can give me a call, you can give me an email, and we can set up a call. My email is paul@thehandcraftednetwork.com. You could also go to thehandcraftednetwork.com and schedule a call there where we can kind of talk one-on-one. I can tell you a little bit more about the community. And again, to emphasize the fact the community is a online classroom. So I've created modules, I've created classroom and coursework stuff in there for you to work on, things like handouts. The other part of it to me that is the most important, and this is what I was talking to somebody about yesterday, is the industry of like making things is like sort of isolating. You know, there's not, we can all be part of a community, but also it's like it's pretty specific and very niche. So if you're looking for other people that you could lean on, that you can get support from, that you could say, hey, how is this person doing this? It's a great place to do that. You could connect with other people, connect with other makers. There's a message board there where you can post questions and communicate and talk. We also do the group calls twice a month, which has been totally awesome as well. Sometimes I prepare a presentation. Sometimes it's just a Q&A kind of thing. So again, all of that stuff is found over in the Handcrafted Network. Go to the website and you can check it out there. Feel free to send me an email if you have any questions. Also schedule a call if you want to chat about it. I'll gladly talk to you about it. All right, so today's topic. I've been talking to a lot of people in the community as well as people who have been listening to the podcast who are, as we approach the holidays, things start to dip a little bit. So some people are having trouble keeping consistent work, so I wanted to talk about a cool thing today, and it's going to be 7 free ways to drum up business. These are things that are tried and true, things that I do with my business, Philadelphia Table Company, continually. The first one, actually, I don't do very often. I used to do it a while back, but it's a really great thing. A lot of people in the community have been posting about, and it seems like it's working really, really well. So let's dive right in. Number 1. Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace actually is the largest trending page within Facebook. So more and more people are actually using Facebook for marketplace and dating than they are for actually like scrolling through feeds. So Facebook Marketplace is a really great place to share your work, share the things that you've done. What I've seen as successful is if you have made a piece, say, not my industry, for example, maybe it's a table. Take a picture of the table, post it up on Facebook Marketplace, give it a dollar value. One of the guys in the group says they just listed as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what happens is you then say custom tables or custom woodwork or custom things made as like the headline, and they've been starting to get a lot of inquiries. The only caveat with this is sometimes it's like a lower quality, low baller kind of client. Every now and then it does turn into something big. I've known a few people that have landed some really big conference tables, people who have landed some really stellar extension tables with high budgets and all that sort of stuff. So it's worth posting on there. The other thing that's nice about it is you can boost it so it's constantly showing. I think the other guy in the group who's been doing it has been also sharing, like maybe he'll do like 5 or 6 different posts, all with like different things. So Facebook Marketplace is a really great place to share your work, connect with other people, and start getting leads in the door. And then it's also going to work on, if you're brand new to this, it's going to start working on your chops as far as like sales chops go, how to communicate with these people, how to close a deal. So all of that is really, really great. All right, number 2, the second way, or a second way to drum up free business, is posting personally on social media. I know that feels super embarrassing, but I know for me, what I'll do is like I'll share a post by Philadelphia Table Company, and even to this day, we don't necessarily, I don't necessarily get a lot of work this way, not using my personal network anymore. I used to, but even now when I post these, I get people constantly reaching out, hey man, I would love a custom X or a custom Y or whatever it is. So using your personal social media page as a way to share what you're doing. It doesn't need to be a share from your business page, and it's actually probably better to go from a personal page. Something like, hey, I just started this custom woodworking business. I just started this custom steel fabrication business, looking for, who needs work done, that kind of thing, and constantly sharing about it. So like really owning the fact that this is what you do and this is what you're doing. So using your personal page as a way to really build your client base and to really get your personal network engaged. Number 3. So this is another thing that sort of plays off of the Facebook social media thing. Use networking and use relationships as a way to grow businesses. So in this maker industry, we're basically all a services industry. So the way services industries grow is built on relationships. So the foundation is through relationships, it's through networking. So using your social media page as a way to build relationships, but also things like local churches, or maybe your CrossFit gym, or maybe your kids' soccer team. Any one of those things are great ways for you to develop a relationship, build your network of people. And when you're around those people, making sure that you say, hey, you're open for business, not in a pushy way, but just like, hey, dude, I started this thing on the side. And what happens is it starts to really circulate, and maybe the person you're talking to directly may not need those services, but maybe somebody else connected to them does. So I'll be like, hey, I heard you do X from so-and-so. So building those personal networking relationships are super critical. Also finding ways to plug into sort of local networking industries, local networking things. So in Philadelphia, there's a bunch of different interior design professional agencies. There's woodworking professional agencies. There's hospitality sort of professional agencies. So trying to find also other sort of professional things that bring people together. But networking and relationships is everything. So if you are the kind of person who's shy, who doesn't like to talk to people, who likes to stay behind the lathe or the table saw or whatever it is you're working on, it's going to be really hard to grow the business that way. So I think you need to really work on your networking and relationship chops, work on getting out of the house, work on meeting people, start practicing. I know, some people with families and things, it's like kind of hard to get out the door and meet people, but anywhere you go is an opportunity to meet somebody. So start developing those relationships, start networking, start practicing those sort of muscles that really are going to be the things that feed your pipeline. So for me, I've developed relationships from a long time ago that still continually remain to be clients today. People are always looking for people that they trust, people that they, you might be offer the same services as somebody else, but at the same time, it's like if you're somebody they know, if you're somebody they recognize, they're going to opt to go with you. So really build those relationships, really work on those networking skills, develop friendships and all that sort of stuff. That's a really, really great way to sell work without having to pay for advertising. All right, the 4th way is go back to past inquiries. Think about all the time. So for those of you guys who have been doing it for a while, this is for every business. So, whatever size, whether you're just starting or you've been in business for 25 years. I see so many times people not going back to past requests. What I do is I actually keep a long rest. I use a CRM, so I have like a recording of all the people who have ever reached out. And you could go through, if you're using Facebook Messenger, if you're using the Facebook Marketplace thing, go back to those people and just be like, hey, did you ever find that table? Are you still looking for a table? Are you still looking for a cabinet? Are you still looking for custom metalwork or a staircase or whatever it is? Are you still looking for that custom whatever, right? So going back to those sort of past inquiries, that's a way that I always round out my pipeline. If near the end of the month and I'm not really hitting my sales quota, I'm going to go back and hit all those past people and be like, hey, we started talking 6 months ago. Just wanted to see if you were still interested. And you'd be surprised. A lot of people do come back and say, oh my gosh, you're right. I still do need this. It just kind of fell by the wayside, or summer vacation came on. I'm ready to dive back into this. So going back to past inquiries is super, super critical, super important. I know some of you guys may not have past inquiries just because you're just getting started. But for those of you guys, I mean, no matter how long you've been in business for, going back to past inquiries is super critical, super important. Another one that's really important, a really great way to grow your reputation and start bringing in new work is Facebook communities. I know I'm talking a lot about Zuckerberg. Personally, screw Zuckerberg. Not a huge fan of his, but he's created some amazing tools that help grow small businesses. So Facebook communities. So for me, I have all the different, mom groups. I have town groups. I have, my local whatever group or my local buy sell groups, all of these things on Facebook. There's so many different Facebook communities that you can join. So what I would do is go through and comb through those and see which ones you could join, like your local community, your local town, your local city community groups, and join those and share what you do there. A lot of times they'll have for example, my town has like a working Wednesday post where I can post what I do. So every Wednesday you could post for free and basically say, hey, I own Philadelphia Table Company. We do custom furniture. And I've gotten a lot of inquiries from that and a lot of people who help connect the dots. Another really great one is if you guys can get involved in it is local mom groups. Local mom groups are always networking and always sharing information. So if you could somehow get plugged into one of those, like a local mom's Facebook community or something like that, it's a really great network to get plugged into. What it's going to do is create sort of a network effect around you and start to share the information even outside of your community. And I talk about this, you've heard me talk about this a lot on a lot of other podcast episodes, is how important it is to focus on community and to focus locally. If you notice, everything that I'm sharing here is about how to engage your local community, how to work with the people in your community to grow your business. So the Facebook communities is a really great way of doing it. Another one is cold outreach. So cold outreach gets scary sometimes. I know a lot of people, don't love the whole idea of whatever. I know realtors do the door knocking and the cold calls and things. And I'm not saying pick up the phone and be annoying about it. What I used to do when I first started, and I think I've shared this story before, is I would walk around. I lived in South Philly at the time. I would walk around South Philly and I would see a rent sign go up. So a vacancy come up, and then I would see the rent sign come down. And what I would do is I would investigate who's moving in there. Is it a coffee shop? Is it a barber shop? Is it a nail salon? And I would figure out who that person is. And the way I would do that is I would talk to whoever the GC is on site, or I would talk to whoever the realtor was. And I would find out, hey, it's so-and-so coffee company. And what I would do is reach out to them directly. And I would say, hey, I know that you guys just started renting this space. Are you in need of X? Do you need tables? Are you in need of any custom woodworking? So I would start doing tables or reception desks or cash wraps. So those kinds of things are really, those kind of people need sort of custom woodworking stuff. Sometimes the budgets aren't there if they're a new, fresh business, but it's a great way to get your foot in the door. Sometimes these places turn into chains. We started working with a coffee shop that actually ended up becoming a pretty big chain, and we ended up doing sort of multiple locations for them, which was great. And then we ended up getting connected with their designers and their architects as they grew. So we continually still work with those companies to this day. The other way you can do cold outreach too, so that's a business to business, or what they would say B2B, so finding other businesses. The other cold outreach you can do if you're in sort of the furniture land is reach out to interior designers. Find ones that are local in your area, maybe hit them on Instagram or send them an email. We've talked about this a little bit in the past, but also just sort of brainstorm. Just take a minute to sit down, all that sanding or all that sewing and stitching, whatever it is that you're doing and what you're making, there's a lot of downtime there. So what I would do is use that time to brainstorm and be like, hey, who can I cold outreach to? How can I get connected to X, Y, and Z people? Sometimes people run craft shows, or sometimes people are, plugged into some sort of local community. So finding people to reach out to cold is nerve-wracking, but also a really great way to do it. With email now, it's never been easier. So I would do email, phone calls, also great. Also just sometimes knocking on the door when you just go and shake hands. That's how we ended up getting a really big brewery up in North Jersey, which was super cool. And that leads to sort of my last idea here, sort of a little bonus one, is consignment galleries. So if you're doing cold outreach, you're going to be connected to people that maybe have a consignment gallery, maybe like a little store that sells paper goods or a store that sells gifts and that sort of thing. Those shops are kind of run by local people. So what I would do is go in and ask, and I used to do this too. I used to sell coffee tables at this one shop in South Philly, is I would just say, hey, can I just put some furniture in here, put it on consignment? If it does sell, I'll give you X percent, or you get 20% or 30%. And a lot of those people are actually looking for kind of space to fill. They're looking for stuff to sell in there. So it's a really great way to do it. You can do that with cutting boards. You could do that. I know the holidays are coming up. Maybe like you make Christmas ornaments or other little small things that people are, maybe candles or whatever, other small things that you're able to like bring into these consignment sort of situations. You can also reach out to like local art galleries. Sometimes they're selling things that need to be made, and just say, hey, do you mind if I put something on consignment? And obviously you're going to have a portfolio and show your work, but it's also a really great way to not just sell things at that place, but to start spreading your name. So if you're doing that, make sure your name and your logo are on the pieces. Maybe make a little card that's like an about you thing that says, hey, Philadelphia Table Company is handcrafted in Philadelphia, PA, blah, 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 blah. Explain all of it. This wood is from X, Y, and Z. So those are a really great way. Consignment places are a really great way to bring in work without having to pay anything until it's sold. The other way too, and I didn't really include this in my initial list, is using a third-party thing like Etsy or I think WeScover is back. Etsy is how I grew my business from the beginning. Etsy is a little bit different now. It's a little bit harder to get discovered. They do give an opportunity for you to pay, but this whole podcast is not about paying. It's about free ways to drum up work. But there is a way on Etsy to like kind of boost your listing to show it. But Etsy's great. WeScover has some stuff there too. So finding any of those online sort of consignment situations. But all right, guys, so I just gave you 8 free ways to drum up business. I hope those are helpful for you. If you have any other ideas or things that have worked with you, I would love to hear from you. Send me an email, paul@thehandcraftednetwork.com. I hope this was helpful. Also, if you have any questions about this podcast or other podcasts, feel free to email me. Be like, hey, Paul, how do you utilize Facebook Marketplace, or how do you utilize cold outreach, all of that sort of stuff. Send me an email. I'll gladly help fill you in. I also talk about a lot of this stuff in much, much, much more depth in the community, in the Handcrafted Network. So if you are interested in learning more about this and you're interested in being held accountable, now is the time to plan for next year. So I always say this. For me, I'm actually starting to do a lot of our reflection now. Our team, we're starting to look at, hey, what does the next year look like? And success for next year starts this year. So now is really the time to focus on this stuff. And if you really want to get serious, and if you really want your business to grow in 2026, you need to start taking steps now in 2025. So if you are interested in learning anything more, or reaching out to me or contacting me, blah, blah, blah. Again, it's just paul@thehandcraftednetwork.com. I'd love to connect with you. I love talking to all you guys. It's kind of been one of my favorite things to do with this whole podcast and this community and all this stuff. It's just been really great to talk to different makers, learn how they're doing their thing, and learn about them. It's just been awesome. All right. Anyways, stay dusty, guys, and peace.